A lot of people just look at it as, oh, it's just a guy in a costume. But there's an art to it, and there is a business to it as well.
Friendly, fierce, animals, manimals. The term mascot comes from a French word loosely meaning good luck charm and first appeared in the late 1800s. But the modern mascotting era began when the San Diego Chicken hatched onto the scene in the 1970s. Since then, just about every team at every level has come up with a costumed cohort, but what's the job really like? To get inside the head of one, we went to one of the most unique heads in the game, TCU's Super Frog. And suiting up requires a lot more than just signing up.
We have an application process and then a tryout process. With tryouts, kind of a review board. We take a lot of things into consideration, and so it's a couple month-long process from kind of sending in your information to doing the tryouts to actually getting in the suit for the first time.
TCU's mascot program is a paying job, which not all schools offer, and the Frogs take their fun seriously.
Most years during the summer, we'll have a Super Frog training camp for all the new incoming mascots as well as the returning ones. And we'll bring in a professional mascot trainer, which was one of my favorite weeks of the year. Always so interesting, always so many good stories. And they really come with the curriculum. They look at how our program's running, ways we can improve it.
Engage your hands.
And when they talk about becoming Super Frog, they mean it.
Sometimes you don't even see the mask in front of you, like you just see everything because you're so used to it. And you embody Super Frog, and it sounds weird and it's super cliche and stuff like that, and I'm not really sentimental or anything, but like when I put on the suit, I'm not me.
One of the biggest challenges is getting each performer to perform the same way so every performance is consistent with the character. That starts with literally walking the walk.
There's a Super Frog walk. It's kind of a swagger, but very respectful at the same time. It's very confident. It's just a really cool kind of walk. You gotta have the cool guy walk.
While they have to walk the walk, they cannot talk the talk, because of course there is no talking, which as you'd expect is difficult at first, but gets easier the more you do it. Or rather, don't do it.
I embody Super Frog so much and I just buy into it that I just don't talk at all, and I'll even go for a period of time, maybe an hour or two, after I take off the head where I just don't talk because I'm still in the zone.
Sometimes I actually catch myself laughing because a lot of times when you're in the suit, you see a lot of things that people don't think that you see.
You know what he's doing? He's pointing to his back and it says, Super Frog!
With talking not allowed, performers must become experts in nonverbal communication, which can involve some trial and error.
I was walking by this little kid and he was just staring at me kids, you never know if they're going to be happy or sad to see you. And I put my hands up like this because I was going to give him a hug, but from the kid's perspective, it was like a scary gesture. So whenever I do interact with kids now, I put my arms out instead of reaching over them like a bear.
But it's not just kids that take some getting used to. There's also overly friendly adults.
A lot of intoxicated fans, preferably of the female type, really find it funny to grab a Super Frog's rear, which at first I was very taken back, and I was just, what's going on? Why is this happening? And then at this point, you're just kind of whatever. I'm glad they're having a good game day experience, and I'm glad I'm making it better.
Butt grabs they're pretty common when you're a mascot. It's kind of odd, but I've gotten used to it now.
The first time I had my butt grabbed by, it was like a drunk mom, middle-aged, and it was so surprising because that doesn't happen.
You didn't go over this in Super Frog
No,
camp?
we didn't go over, hey, if your butt gets grabbed, this is what you do.
Kind of along the same lines, a lot of people think it's really, really funny and fun to kiss Super Frog. And for the females, that leaves lipstick stains, which is a pain for us to get out.
Being a prominent college mascot doesn't just come with the perk of getting into games like football or basketball or baseball. It also comes with perks outside of sports, like performing at the Country Music Awards.
We're walking into the tunnel, and I see Steven Tyler to my right, and I'm freaking out. I snap out of being Super Frog, and I go, that's Steven Tyler. I want to shake his hand. So I jump out of the line and run up to him and wave my hands, and he's like, hey, bud, and shakes my hand, and I almost crumble there because it's Steven Tyler.
Those opportunities get even bigger for those who move up to the professional ranks. We talked with one of the 3 performers who make up FC Dallas's Tex Hooper. However, we're not allowed to show his face or even his name, but there is a good reason for that.
there's the secrecy that comes along with it that just helps keep the mystery and the character alive. You know, if you knew that every year it's a different guy, it just it loses its luster. When people ask, oh, well, what do you do? And I was like, oh, I do grassroots marketing or I do promotions.
We all sign contracts of confidentiality and things like that. I know some schools you're not allowed to tell your significant others, you're not allowed to tell your family or, your grandparents or your roommates or things like that. Here we definitely don't like that, but, if you want to tell your parents, it's definitely understandable if, they're going to come see you on a game day.
Within the mascot community, though, things are much different since they're all birds of a feather, and they do flock together.
There is kind of a secret society. The mascot community in North America is pretty close. We have a very underground, on the DL mascot kind of group messaging system. And so if we're ever in another city or we're ever visiting, we'll always try and make contact. Or if somebody's visiting our stadium, we always try and make contact with them, make them feel at home, get them water, make sure they have somewhere to stay.
Hydration and a place to rest are critical, as a typical costume adds 10 to 15 degrees of heat. To help survive that, conditioning is a must.
The suit's kind of like an altitude mask, where you're getting denied oxygen a little bit, and it's also really hot, and you're also wearing, the suit that we have is kind of like a giant sweatshirt filled with pillows. And so on a Texas summer day, or even in October when football season is, we get to sprint out of the tunnel. And you don't really feel it when you're in the moment. So you run out and you're like, this is so cool, the adrenaline picks up. But then once you get to the sidelines and you're starting to come down off that, you start to die inside.
Since that is kind of the hottest sport we do, we normally divide it. We do 2 Super Frogs per game. And so we'll do one in the first half and one in the second half. And that's just to keep us safe and also to keep the energy levels up. If I did a whole game, by that 4th quarter, I'm going to be dead.
People think that we have air conditioning. There are some costumes that do have little bitty computer fans in the head, but it's more annoying than it is helpful. It's more of just a buzz.
While games are the most high-profile part of the job, it's far from the only part. With mascots serving as year-round representatives for their teams, they're in high demand for public and private appearances.
Birthday parties, parades, weddings, bar mitzvahs, quinceañeras. The sky's the limit.
I did hear of somebody having Super Frog at their funeral. So that would be very interesting. I don't quite know how I'd handle it, but I would find a way to, because you always have to.
Participating in spelling bees, I know that we've done that before. It's kind of hard because we can't talk, but somehow we participate.
We do a lot of nonprofit work. My favorite one is Cook Children's, just since I spent a lot of time there as a kid.
It's great to see these kids who oftentimes have terminal illnesses that are in the hospital and they probably won't ever leave, and just to see them have a smile on their face, it makes it worth it. We sweat a lot, we get dirty, we smell bad for days, but just to put a smile on their face is so worth it.
And it's those experiences that keep performers coming back to suit up again. Because when your job is all about having a good time, how bad can it be?
It is a tough job, it is a hot job, but at the end of the day, instead of going to work and putting on a suit and a tie, I just put on a suit and a tail. When I started doing this, I never thought that this would roll into what it has. A college scholarship, turn into my livelihood. It's how I make money. It's how I provide for my family.
My dad super frogged up until 1986 when he went to TCU, and I said I was not going to super frog. That was the last thing I was going to do. I thought it was wacky and weird. In high school, I was never cheerleading or mascotting. I'd never done anything like this, and it was the coolest way to experience a university, and I could not imagine my college career without Super Frog.